The budget, we have details as a minority leader cites controversial SML revenue assurance contract scandal as basis for rejecting the finance ministry's budget.
This budget, in excess of over $1 billion Ghana cedis for Ministry of Finance, Mr. Speaker, to perform their functions. Mr. Speaker, we should be aware that this ministry, under its current leadership, needs to be asked to do what is right. Mr. Speaker, a lot is wrong at that ministry. A lot is wrong, and we will come frontally on the issues of the SML contract. We will come frontally on the issues of the e-levy contract. That 20.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Vodafone. There was drama in Parliament today when the second Deputy Speaker called for a voice vote on the Finance Ministry's 2 billion cedi budget estimate. The majority side appeared to lose a vote, forcing the second Deputy Speaker to suspend sitting. The vote followed a heated debate on the floor, with the minority side determined to reject the ministry's budget. Listen to Dr. Kesela Tofosing, who is the minority leader.
Mr. Speaker, we are aware that every foreign bank that we have taken loans from, Ghana has failed to repay both interest and principal. Mr. Speaker, we are also aware that every single individual and investor in the world, including Ghana, that has purchased our Euro bond, Mr. Speaker, as we speak, we have failed to service our debt, both interest and debt repayment. Mr. Speaker, that is why when Ministry of Finance present their budget, we need to scrutinize it. Mr. Speaker, we pay them to manage the economy of the Republic of Ghana. And so, Mr. Speaker, this motion cannot be treated like any other motion. This motion is critical and important, and every member of this House must have an opportunity to debate it. Because, Mr. Speaker, this Ministry of Finance have failed the people of Ghana. That is a fact. Mr. Speaker, let us understand. Let us understand. And Mr. Speaker, let me refer you to paragraph 5.19, sovereign rating. Page 6. The Speaker, the language there speaks volumes. The Speaker, I read, in 2024, the ministry in collaboration with credit rating will conduct sovereign rating assessment to assess the credit worthiness of our country. So Speaker, this simply means that as we speak, we are not rated at all. So they are waiting to assess the credit worthiness of our country in the year 2024. Mr. Speaker, currently we are rated junk. In fact, when it comes to international ratings, as long as our external debt is concerned, Mr. Speaker, we are rated default. And this was supervised by this ministry, by the Ministry of Finance. Mr. Speaker, default means Mr. Speaker, we can't simply pay our debt. That's what it is. That is what it is. So Speaker, aside that, and this statement goes on to say, in addition, the ministry will intensify credit risk assessment of SOEs and other public entities to contain fiscal risk. So Speaker, sadly, we are yet to conduct credit risk assessment for our state-owned enterprises. So Speaker, most of our state-owned enterprises, most of them, they are not credit worthy. That is what it is. That is what it is. And Mr. Speaker, we cannot treat this motion before us as if it is a normal and ordinary motion. The situation that the country is going through was supervised by the ministry responsible for finance. And so, Mr. Speaker, we should say it as it is.
Well, he goes on to cite the controversial SML revenue assurance contract scandal as basis for rejecting the finance ministry's budget.
This budget, in excess of over $1 billion Ghana cedis for Ministry of Finance, Mr. Speaker, to perform their functions. Mr. Speaker, we should be aware that this ministry, under its current leadership, needs to be asked to do what is right. The Speaker, a lot is wrong at that ministry. A lot is wrong. And we will come frontally on the issues of the SML contract. We will come frontally on the issues of the e-levy contract. And we will ask them, Mr. Speaker, in the coming days to account to the people of Ghana how they took taxpayers' money, 24 million every single month since 2018 for no work done. 24 million Ghana cedis since 2018 every month for no work done. And the reasons why they had the audacity in the middle of crisis to award a contract to SML for an amount worth 100 million US dollars every month for the performance of a function that everyone knows that is a dab.
And I want to take you to Parliament now. Let me bring in my parliamentary correspondent who has been witnessing today's drama on the floor. And quickly, before we even come to this very controversial voice vote, I had in there this SML scandal was mentioned on the floor by the minority leader who was arguing why the finance ministry's budget must be rejected. Apparently, he's not the only leader on the minority side who believes that should be a factor in considering the finance ministry's budget.
Yes, Governor Kwame Agboja made such a strong point that left to him alone, Parliament should only approve what will be used to pay salaries of staff of the Ministry of Finance, and that the budget itself should not go through because the Finance Ministry does use these amounts of money for sleazy contracts like the one they entered into with SML, which he believes is so lopsided against the state, it must be abrogated immediately.
Ghana, as chair of the CVF 20, and I want to thank Dr. Mafo, led a long-term reform to champion the cause of climate vulnerable nations. And this is the thing. Ghana will be able to access a minimum of $500,000 as an achievement when you have just recently created a company which we are told have been given $100 million a year, and you are saying that it's an achievement to benefit for 500,000. You have cheapened governance to the lowest level. Your government is not even fit to manage a district assembly. Your government is not fit to manage a district assembly. It's a substandard government. Mr. Speaker, with this heavy heart, I urge colleagues to vote against this by this one.
Before we come to the voice vote, Kweku, did the majority side put up an argument at all in this debate? Hello, Kweku. Hello, Kweku, can you hear me? Okay, we'll get Kweku in to get a clearer picture. What happened with the majority side? Because they were also on the on the floor, by the way. The deputy finance minister herself was on the floor, and I'm curious, Kweku, watching the proceedings today, the debate around the finance ministry's budget. I did not see one of the leaders on his feet arguing and debating the subject. Did we hear anything because we've heard a lot about the majority's position, the minority position on the matter?
Well, Evans, there was not a single majority MP who did debate this finance ministry budget proposal. It was actually only Kwesi Kwarteng who presented the committee's report, or the finance committee report, recommending the approval of the sums of money for the finance ministry. But there was no majority MP who debated. In fact, at the time the question was put, there was not a single NPP majority leadership in the House at the time. And so the Speaker of Parliament, this time the second Deputy Speaker presiding, had to put the question on this matter, and when he did put the question, it appeared the voice on the minority were quite loud.
At the conclusion of the debate, all those in favor of the motion listed 12 in today's order paper say aye. All those against say no. Honorable members, I'll take the question again. Honorable members, all those in favor of the motion listed 12 in today's order paper say aye. All those against say no. Honorable members, I'll hold on with the decision and suspend the House for 1 hour. The House is suspended for 1 hour.
Quickly, so the House was suspended. What happened thereafter?
Yes, the House was suspended because of the second Deputy Speaker's determination on this matter. When the House did return, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Baguen himself, was in the chair. And when he came, the first order of business was to put the question again on this budget estimate for the Finance Ministry. At the time, however, so many minority MPs who had early on rejected this budget proposition from the Finance Ministry were not in the chamber. And so the question was put again, and the Finance Ministry's budget was passed.
Speaker, we moved the motion on finance. And I recall the question was put, and the Speaker deferred ruling and suspended sitting. So, Speaker, we got to a point where you had to rule on the voice vote.
What item?
That was item 12. Yes. So, Speaker, if it pleases you, you may put the question on item 12.
You concluded the debate and the question was put, but the decision was not made. So I put the question again. Those in favor of item 12 at page 10 of the order paper, say aye. Those against, say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The motion is carried. This House approved the sum of 2,249,577,038 Ghana cedis for the services of the Ministry of Finance for the year ending 31st December 2024.
And Kweku, so this dramatic turn of events, just within the space of less than an hour, because I was watching the clock when the second deputy speaker says, I would have to suspend sitting because the voice vote from the minority side at the time was louder than that of the majority side. And of course, you know his allegiance is to the majority side. And then we saw the chaos that ensued. Less than an hour later, the minority side have lost the vote.
Yes, Evans, this was barely 30 minutes. In fact, barely 30 minutes after the second deputy speaker had suspended sitting so that the House could reconvene to take a decision. When the Speaker of Parliament himself came, there were so many NDC MPs who were not on the floor. In fact, if you went to the coffee shop, there were so many of them who were in the coffee shop just adjacent the chamber. They were there. And at the coffee shop also, there's a TV screen that shows what exactly is happening on the floor of the House. So the MPs would have known that this question on the Finance Ministry's budget was going to be put, and if they were minded to so reject it, as they had done just few minutes prior, they could have come to the floor to take that decision. In fact, the minority leader and the chief whip and a few others actually had walked out of the chamber. They had gone to their offices. When the Speaker of Parliament returned, they had come in, and when you hear the voice vote, you'd have heard a few minority voices shout no, but that was not enough to reject the budget. So it was such a dramatic shift from what we had seen just 30 minutes prior. And then barely 30 minutes later, when this question was put again on the floor, after such spirited debate about why they wanted to reject the Finance Ministry budget because of the SML issues and all that, then all of a sudden there are very few minority MPs on the floor. No one raises any issue about calling for headcount or anything. It just passes, and then the House just moves on to consider other business. It was such a dramatic shift from what we have seen for the last 30 minutes. We're trying to get explanation from the leadership in terms of why exactly that had to happen, and if at all they meant that earlier vote to reject the budget, but none have been forthcoming.
Kuku, stay with me. Let me bring in one of the lead voices on the minority side. Murtala Mohammed is a former deputy trade minister, MP for Tamale Central. Mr. Murtala Mohammed, can you offer an explanation why this dramatic turn of events? You actually, from what you're listening by the ear, appear to have won that vote when the voice vote was put, and then less than an hour later, you've lost it.
Well, Evans, let me say good evening to you and your cherished listeners. I think that question should be by the leadership of the House. The question should be answered by not just the majority leadership, but the minority leadership. They should be answering this question. But I think before I even deal on that issue, what the second deputy speaker did was something that can be described as a disregard to the standing orders of Parliament and parliamentary practices. A voice vote was done. You needed to rule on the voice vote. This business of suspending seating and then come to rule on it was a travesty of parliamentary, procedure. And for me, they have several questions to answer. If there is any danger to our democracy and the need for transparency to be done, Parliament must take the lead. Unfortunately, the actions and inactions of the legislature is embarrassing. So what the second deputy speaker needed to do after the voice vote was done, which was very clear that we rejected the budget of the Ministry of Finance, was to rule. So this idea that he was suspending seating and then come back and then rule on it, for me, was just embarrassing.
Well, but Mr. Murtala, granted that he was wrong, you had a second opportunity to put this beyond doubt.
No,
but you were not there.
Cannot, listen, Evans, we cannot discuss this issue without looking at the first wrong. And that is why I just say that is the point I want to make first. So it was wrong. But the question is, when Parliament suspends sitting, members are supposed to retire to their offices or wherever they may want to go. But you must be at the precinct of Parliament. Usually, and ask your correspondent, he will tell you, a bell will be rung. And Parliament is such that even the offices of members of Parliament, when they ring the bell, you hear the bell loud and clear in your office. The bell was not rung. The bell was not rung. So why? And in any case, when they took the voice vote and only few members were in the chamber, why didn't our leaders protest? Why didn't they?
You say your leaders, you mean the minority leadership?
Yes, they should have protested. What the majority did was very clear. What they did with the second deputy speaker, they knew that they lost the vote, and having lost the vote, they disregarded the procedure that is expected to be done in Parliament, disregarded the standing orders. And the second deputy speaker ruled that they were suspending sitting. Why did he do that in the first place? Why, Ivan, the reason why we had problems with the budget of the Ministry of Finance is very clear. It's not just the quantum, not just the 2 billion cities, that is about 2,700,000,000 that is given to the ministry. If you look at agencies, CAPEX.
Yeah, I mean, and Murtala, you make the point, and we just played your leader, Kisato Forsing, and your minority chief whip, Agboja, on the floor arguing in great detail why the finance ministry's budget must be rejected. And yet you say, when the second deputy speaker, after the voice vote appeared to suggest you've won, said, I'm suspending, they did not challenge it after making all the arguments on the floor.
Not even that. I'm saying that decision itself for me was wrong.
Yeah, it was. We should have
challenged even the decision to suspend sitting.
And I'm saying that assuming without admitting, granted that it was wrong, you say that your own leadership failed to challenge that. Isn't that an indictment on the minority as a whole, including yourself?
Well, I don't think that. I think that is why when you asked me the question, I said that there are certain questions that must be answered by the leadership. That question must be answered by the leadership. Evans, GRA is spending $17 million in putting up an office. GRA is spending $79 million to put up an office. Security and Exchanges Commission, $17 million. Ministry of Finance itself is spending $20 million. Now, if you add all this, with the $250 million that is being spent for the offices, new offices of the Bank of Ghana. You are talking about $366 million. What is so special about putting up new offices by this government?
And you blame the finance ministry for this?
But who should we blame?
That the question,
the entirety of the government.
But the question is,
at a time when schools, food for students are not being provided, and schools have to even go, unexpected.
But the real question is, you had an opportunity today to pull this right by holding the feet of the finance minister to the fire. You lost it because your minority leadership did not challenge it. And secondly, when it was recalled, when everybody came back into the house, your members were not there. Why should we take this seriously anymore?
Evans, what we did was what we demonstrated, and I don't know how many times I have to repeat that. Some of the questions you are asking me, you are directing the question to the wrong person.
But you see why it creates a credibility problem for the minority. When you have all these issues, and yet where we've empowered you to go there and represent us, you had an opportunity and failed. You see why then it raises all these issues?
I'm not trying to absolve the minority, but why are you so concerned about the actions of the minority, not concerned about the actions of the leadership of the House?
Well, I don't have them here.
Have you? The actions, the disregard to the proceedings. If the second deputy speaker had done what was expected to be done as in the standing orders of Parliament and the practices of Parliament, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
But let me ask you a personal question.
Why did the second deputy speaker do that? Why?
Let me ask you a question. Were you in the House the second time the voice was put by Abang Bagbing?
Evans, we were in the House when they asked that the Parliament was sitting was suspended. And if you know,
were you back for the Bagbing voice vote?
No. I mean the sitting was suspended. We were all supposed to retire to our offices. We are expecting that the bell will be rung when they are ready. I was on my way to the chamber when I had to go through the social on Facebook, because Parliament sittings is live on Facebook. So as I was moving to chamber, I checked and I realized that they were taking off. By the time I got there, the vote has been done.
So you were also not there?
I wasn't even there. That is why I am saying that. Why was the bell not even rung?
Yeah, but
and your correspondence 30 minutes. I don't think it was even up to 30 minutes. Usually when sitting is suspended, at least you have 1 hour. Because you would have been informed. We have a platform. We have a minority platform. I was expecting that, members, everybody should be in the chamber. Something like that, the bell was not rung. Many people were rushing to the chamber. And all of us got wind of it when we checked on our social media handles, and then we realized that voting was taking place in the chamber.
You blame the lack of the ringing of the bell?
I'm not blaming. I'm saying that the bell ringing is important. That is one. And I'm not saying entirely because the bell was not rung. Because even when you sit in the chamber and they didn't tell you that we are coming back at this time, assuming the suspension, they said, okay, we are going to do 30 minutes. Usually the speaker will say 30 minutes or 1 hour. Or the speaker will even give a specific time. By 3:30, we'll be back in the chamber. Nothing like that.
You were given an hour.
Exactly. And less than 30 minutes, they come back to the chamber without even ringing the bell, without even notifying us.
Are you suggesting this was done deliberately?
There is no anywhere anyone can convince me that it was not deliberately done.
But if it was deliberate, then you're saying that the speaker himself, Abang Bagbing, is in on this.
Well, Evans, don't put words in my mouth.
Well, but he
I have every right to say that this thing is unusual. And the reason why I say it's unusual because the bell was not rung. We were not given any notices. If you tell us that we were going to suspend sitting for 1 hour and in less than 30 minutes, you have not even informed us, you haven't rung the bell. Even when we were told that 1 hour we were going to have suspended sitting for 1 hour, one would expect that if there was any reason why they needed to come back to the chamber earlier than the 1 hour, they would have rung the bell, because that is the only way by which you can communicate with us. Nothing like that happened, and you think that I shouldn't be suspicious about what happened?
Thank you very much. Do you have any idea what happens now, considering everything that's happened today? You have questions for your own leadership. Will there be a meeting to examine and take its steps, considering that you challenge the decision of the second deputy speaker?
Well, Ivan, like I said, I don't know whether I have to repeat this. Some of the questions you are asking me, I can't answer those questions. I can't. But mine is just as a member of Parliament who represents the people of Tamale Central, I find it rather hurting that what happened, first and foremost, the second deputy speaker disregarding the standing orders of parliament and the best practices in this parliament and doing what he did, and the fact that we came back and we needed to take the vote again. In any case, even when we came back to the chamber, we didn't need to take the vote again because the vote had been taken.
Okay.
Strange reasons, the second deputy speaker could not give his ruling. Why did we need to take the vote again?
Okay. Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed, thank you very much. And I want to hear your views on this. This was a day of drama, indeed. The minority side appear to have won the vote to punish the finance minister for the litany of things they've leveled against him, including the SML contract that you heard the Fourth Estate disclosed. But they've got a second opportunity to do so. You've heard his explanations. Do you accept the explanations you've heard? 055-11-11997. News Night in a minute.
Late things no easy, crowd. For my business inside, pressure day from customers. If I make payments, give suppliers, Okada riders, delivery charges, no easy. Things no they move fast like before because everything make expensive. The family where they house, see what are they talk? Family where they call they ask for another money. No easy. Vodafone Cash be the only thing where they make my ID get to. If I they do transfers for Vodafone Cash, it they save me money. If you they do Vodafone Cash to Vodafone Cash transactions, still no transfer charges dey. Even if I they send money to another network, I they get value.
Make you dial *110# to send money. Sending money from Vodafone Cash to Vodafone Cash still be free.
Vodafone. Ready? Let's go. We all go bring some savannah.
Everyone is dancing, everyone is singing, because everyone is painting with Savannah. Savannah paints from Azar are affordable enough for everybody to fulfill their paint needs. Paint more, pay less. Savannah paint, we all go paint some.
We all go paint some savannah. We all go paint some.
It's raining beautiful goodies at Maidan Home Deco this Christmas. Joy to the world. Our stores are wide open and ready to treat you this Yuletide. Maidan Home Deco has all the essentials to decorate your home. Christmas decorations, throw pillows, vases, photo frames, and many more. We assist clients create their personal and corporate hampers with our exquisite gift items. Your bedrooms will come alive with our high-quality bed and bath products made of 100% Egyptian cotton. Our international brands such as Canon, Fieldcrest, Waverly are leaders in offering the most comfortable pillows, towels, bed in a bag, duvets in amazing colors and textures. It's a good time of year to give your home a facelift. Maidan is ready to give your home a simple yet trendy look. Look out for us in Accra, Junction, Achimota, and West Hills Mall. Follow us on Instagram. Maidan Home Deco. We bring quality and comfort to your home.
In the next 60 minutes here on News Night, Office of the President gets 2 billion cedi budget. The minority is accusing the office of reckless expenditure.
This is the office that is supposed to be signaling to the whole government how to be responsible in our fiscal management, and that is the office that is really guilty of being fiscally irresponsible.
We have details as Minority Chief Whip calls for the disbandment of development organizations created under the Office of the President.
Do you actually need a new government entity to drill boreholes? You don't. It is a waste of resources and only a pretext to go and put more resources under the presidency.
Also tonight, President Akufo-Addo is fighting of the tag of being a clearing agent who clears his appointees of corruption before the courts get a chance to hear the substantive matter.
It is not my job to clear or convict any person accused of wrongdoing or of engaging in acts of wrongdoing, despite the effort of some to tag me as a clearing agent.
We have details as he proclaims his administration has exhibited utmost good faith in the fight against corruption. Also tonight, some NDC MPs demand the immediate resignation of the Controller and Accountant General after he picked forms to contest the Akim Straight Road parliamentary primaries.
I think it's a classical example of Yentubia. I think it's important that he is not only resigning, or he shouldn't only resign, but also be investigated.
You are the Accountant General of the Republic of Ghana. If you decide to engage in partisan politics, then you need to exit from office.
In business, bank treasurers expect recent pressure on cedi to ease in coming days as forex demand slows.
And in sports, Brighton boss Roberto De Zerbi hits out at Black Stars head coach Chris Hughton after injured Tariq Lamptey named in Ghana's provisional AFCON squad.
And then later, Clocksag is heading to the Supreme Court to take on the government for appointment of individuals into the public service using the Presidential Office Act. The association says the situation will severely impair the service.
The use of the Presidential Office Act in appointing officers into the civil service and local government service is contrary to the Supreme Court ruling on neutrality. In view of the foregoing, CLOSAG has instructed its lawyers to file a writ at the Supreme Court for redress.
Well, details as the executive secretary of the association also claims government is weakening the civil and local government services with the creation of numerous commissions and authorities.
There is a need for government to evaluate the impact of these commissions and authorities that has been carved out of the civil and local government services. Government should be bold enough to revert these institutions to the civil service and the local government service.
You want to stay with us for all of that here on News 9. And we start tonight from Parliament, where the minority say the office of the president is engaged in reckless and irresponsible expenditure after so many institutions under the office were cited by the Finance Committee for overspending their budget. The Chief of Staff's office, the Press Office, and Cabinet Secretariat all spent way more than they actually was budgeted to spend. Ranking member on the Finance Committee, Isaac Adungo, questioned where the office found the extra money to spend and charged it to show leadership.
Of the president, they are very worried. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the unit under the office of the president, you will notice that the Chief of Staff Secretariat, which is at the heart of the office of the president, is very reckless in government expenditure. Mr. Speaker, how on earth can you get releases of 131 million and be able to spend 144 million? You are giving 133 million, but you magically spend 144 million. How did you get that money? So it means something wrong is happening there. That the office or the chief of staff is able to make expenditures irrespective of whether you make releases to the office or not. And we need to get to the bottom of how that office is able to make the money to spend when it has not even been released, those monies. Said that when we release 131, we expect you to spend 131 million, you spend 144 million, and we don't know where you get that money from. Mr. Speaker, you can look at the Cabinet Secretariat. The Cabinet Secretariat had a budget of 4.5 million, and by September, we are not even at the end of the year, by September, they are spending 7.6 million. So clearly, the office of the president is not part of our budget. And for them, they spend as they wish. They don't care about appropriation, and all they are doing is spending money that you don't know how they got it. That when you budget for 4.5, in September, you haven't even ended the year, they are already doing 7.6. Actually, overspending their budget by September of almost 3 million, which is against the Public Financial Management Act. Mr. Speaker, look at the Press Secretariat. The Press Secretariat was released 89,000, but they spent 152,000. I don't know how the office of the president is able to find those monies that it has not been given. That when you release 89,000, and you expect them to spend 89,000, they will spend 152. So, Mr. Speaker, This is the office that is supposed to be signaling to the whole government how to be responsible in our fiscal management, and that is the office that is really guilty of being fiscally irresponsible.
Well, let's stay in the House. Let's bring in Kweku, my parliamentary correspondent who joins me now. Kweku, how much exactly did the office of the president get?
The office is getting in excess of 2.2 billion Ghana cedis. I mean, if you compare it to previous estimates, for instance, last year the House approved just a little about 1.3 billion for the office of the government machinery, which includes the office of the president and all the offices that are under the office of the president. And so that is just about 700 million Ghana cedis increase. And the minority are raising significant concerns about the propriety of that. You just heard Isaac Adongo recount all the offices under the presidency overspending how much was actually budgeted for them. Then we heard from Governor Kwame Agboja, who is the minority chief whip, who is taking on government. You know, under the first term of the president, he set up some ministries, Special Development Initiative, Zongo Development Ministry. In his second term, he decided to collapse them as ministries and make them specialized institutions under his office. Governor Agboja says those institutions are all just a waste of resources and must be disbanded.
Mr. Speaker, what actually is the use of the development authorities? Complete waste. It's just a Congo for nothing. Mr. Speaker, CODA started a project, a 6-unit project, classroom project in my constituency. It's been abandoned for ages. Get Fund could have done that. What is the point of asking Northern Coastal Development Authority to go and build a classroom? Has Get Fund failed to do so? Get Fund is unable to do these things because they don't have the money. Then you go and create another Congo and then call it and staff it with all manner of people and then say that you can go and award a 6-unit classroom block. Mr. Speaker, then you go and put the money under the presidency. Mr. Speaker, I think this House should be thinking of actually considering some of the things we do in this House. In fact, sometimes you cannot blame government for, because we passed it. And I remember the majority leader told us how the setting up of the development authorities was going to be a game changer, was going to make things better. Today, even one 6-unit classroom block in Adaku have been abandoned. So where are the promises you gave us? Mr. Speaker, we should have been trying to actually rescind some of the decisions. The development authorities can be collapsed today. It will actually give better value for money for our country. Are you saying that the engineers at the assembly, if the assembly common fund is given to them, the engineers and the education directorate at your assembly couldn't have gone to build a 6-unit classroom block, drill boreholes? Do you actually need a new government entity to drill boreholes? You don't. It is a waste of resources and only a pretext to go and put more resources under the presidency. And guess what? When they put the money under the presidency, we have to do the allocation, they hardly give the money to those organizations. They spend it anyhow they like.
And Kweku, there's a suspicion from the minority side that this may be related to the elections, the significant increase in the budgetary allocation.
Yes, according to Dr. Kisilato Forsen, the minority leader, it appears the amount of money that has been given to the Office of Government Machinery, and if you look at it, a huge chunk of it is going to go to the Office of the President, which has the Vice President's office, among others, under that umbrella body. According to Dr. Kisilato Forsen, it appears all this is just to give the President some blank check to spend in 2024 to buy votes in that election.
In fact, capital expenditure alone at the Office of the President in particular is 67 million Ghana cedis. 67 million Ghana cedis. What at all are they purchasing? Capital expenditure. How many cars are they buying? To the extent that they will have to budget 67 million Ghana cedis for capital expenditure. Mr. Speaker, largely this amount is for the purchases of cars. My concern is it because election is staring at us? And is that the reason why? And that is the question I'm asking. Is it because election is staring at us, and that is why the Office of Government Machinery budget has moved from 1.4 billion to 2 billion? Or is it because of the elections? That is why the Office of the President, in particular, the budget for the Office of the President has been increased from about 400 million to 1 billion Ghana cedis. 400 million to about 1 billion Ghana cedis, of which goods and services alone amounting to 450.6
million Ghana cedis, goods and services alone. What at all are they using this money for? Goods and services. Speaker, this is according to the budget statement before us. The Speaker, these are things that I believe that this House must call and demand answers from the office of the President. The Speaker, Chief of Staff's office is where most of this expenditure is concentrated, particularly the Special Operations account. And the details as was presented by the office of the President in a document that were submitted to the Finance Committee, the Speaker, is something that we should all be worried about.
Kweku, did we get a reaction from the majority side?
None. There was no reaction. In fact, today there was such a spectacle in the House. Almost all the governmental agencies' issues that have had to be discussed on the floor, there was no majority MPs debating it. It was only the majority MP, maybe a chairman of a committee, in this instance the Finance Committee, moving the motion and getting it seconded. But just the entire debate is populated with the minority. So on this case of the Office of Government Machinery, we heard from so many minority MPs, including Haruna Idrisu, Roxy Nelson, all of them raising significant issues, but there was no response from the majority side. None of them actually even debated or said a word about the entire thing. The Deputy Speaker just had to put the question, and this time around, also, despite the concerns the minority raised, they did not vote against it, and it was approved.
Okay, Kweku, thank you very much. And this is definitely an issue that we'll get into. You want to stay with us for that and more as we keep a close eye on Parliament. And Kweku, Parliament is still on course to rise tomorrow, correct?
Yes, Evans, as per its plan, tomorrow they expect that they will be able to deal with the remainder of the budget estimates that they have. There are just a few ministries, departments and agencies which have not had their estimates approved, and so they expect to do so. In fact, the Speaker of Parliament is clear that MPs must sit very early tomorrow so that they can be able to deal with this, and not usually the last day go into deep into the night. Also, the tax bills that came as part of the 2024 budget, the 100 Ghana cedis that you have to pay if you use a petrol or diesel car, will be taken tomorrow. The 20% hike in the VAT rate on Akmetishi and other set drinks will be taken tomorrow. So tomorrow is such a busy day. The House was expecting to do some of that today, but the Speaker of Parliament and the Parliamentary Service are holding a carol service. And so they've had to ditch some of these business to tomorrow and go and have the carol service with the Vice President is expected to be the special guest of honor.
Kweku, thank you very much. And let's stay in Parliament a while longer because there's pressure on the Controller and Accountant General Kwesi Bosumping to resign after picking forms to contest in the upcoming MPP primaries. The government's chief accountant will be contesting incumbent MP Kennedy Nyako for the Akim Stradru seat. Now, despite picking nomination forms, Kwesi Bosumping continues to remain in office despite calls to step aside. Now, first, let's listen to the Akim Stradru MPP Constituency Secretary Daniel Intri confirming his picking of nominations yesterday.
As at close of work yesterday, 3 aspirants have picked forms to contest for the parliamentary seat for Achim Swedru. And these are the sitting MP, that is Honorable Kennedy Osenyako. He was followed by Mr. Jerome Kwame Akodo, and then Mr. Kwesi Bosumping, the Controller and Accountant General. These are people who are well known in the constituency. So for us, I do not think it's really prudent to go into all this for now. So for now, I wouldn't be in a position to tell. I think this is incumbent upon the vetting committee, to find out at the appropriate time.
But as an insider, you are not aware whether he has resigned or not?
No, for now, I don't have any information to that effect.
Well, this came up in Parliament today. The MPP MPs are pretty silent on the matter, but NDC MPs Mutala Mohammed and Roxy Nelson Dafiamepo argued that it was unacceptable that the Controller and Accountant General was still at post.
I think it's a classical example of Yentubia. I think it's important that he is not only resigning, or he shouldn't only resign, but also be investigated. You remember my colleague, Honorable Edward Bauer, made a wild allegations against him. My expectation was that by now the Office of the Special Prosecutor would have commenced some investigation into this matter. If indeed he had some delegates in his constituency on a payroll, how was he paying them? I think that it ought to be looked at, particularly the critical role he plays as far as the accounting and finances of this country is concerned. The salary of every public officer is managed and controlled by him. The extent to which he ought to distance himself from politics, he may do, but not partisan politics. For him to get engaged in partisan politics and still holding his office is just incredible. Because frankly speaking, I was expecting that even if he wanted to contest, he would have resigned. Must it take people to demand that he resigns? I mean, I find it extremely difficult. To be very honest with you, under this government, you find it very difficult to identify, a semblance of an independent state institution in a democracy. You find it very difficult to see this. If the man is failing to do so, I believe the president would have asked him to resign. It simply doesn't make sense. So I would support the call that he should resign if he wants to contest an elections, and I would urge the office of the special prosecutor to commence investigation into this matter.
It's such an important matter, and we need to, as a people, we need to look at our governance structure. We need to revisit the ethos and the spirits that underpin our constitution and constitutional governance process. You are the Accountant General of the Republic of Ghana. If you decide to engage in partisan politics, then you need to exit from office, because the constitution is not saying don't engage in politics, but it says that if you are a public servant, don't engage in partisan politics. So once you decide to engage in partisan politics, then you must leave that space for persons who want to be non-partisan, non-politically aligned, to occupy the space and serve the people. In addition to the Accountant General, all these who are now regarded as public servants and who have gone on to become parliamentary candidates for the New Patriotic Party in the various constituencies ought to be resigning.
Let's bring in lawyer Martin Kpebu into the conversation right now. Martin, thanks for your time here on Newsnight.
Yes, you're welcome, Evans.
Where do you stand on this legally? What does the law say about it?
Evans, apparently the law has changed and we hadn't seen it. Yeah. If you look at the case of Clark versus Attorney General, the Supreme Court has changed the law. But I think because there was an earlier decision, this NDC MPP case, there was a Ministry of Finance Chief Director who sought to contest as an MP, and the case went to the Supreme Court. Then the Supreme Court held that the time of resignation would be when he's officially presented by his party to the EC. That's when he's nominated. So I think we just thought that the Clark case says the same. But it's not true. The Clark case actually says that, listen, if a civil servant becomes overt in his political affiliation, then he has to resign. It's not just about nomination alone. Let me read a part of it, just the last page. Listen, apart from talking about nomination, this is what it says. It says that upon a true and proper interpretation of the Constitution, a member of the civil service or local government service does not have the right to remain a member of the civil service or local government service after his or her nomination by a political party or otherwise to contest for election as a member of parliament. Full stop. Then it says, moreover, such a person shall resign from his or her office immediately his or her political activities become overt. That's the conclusion side. But if you come in the middle, Chief Justice Sufai Kufu analyzes it further and says that no, they are not interested in civil servants who are politically affiliated because it affects decision making in the civil service. Okay, so that's very, very, very clear. So the law is changed. It's changed, and it's not going to affect only Mr. What is called the Controller and Accountant General. It goes for all those persons who are named in Article 94, Clause 3. So people in the police service, people in the fire service, armed forces, judicial service, statistical service, all of them, you name them. It says once your activities become overt, then that's the time to resign. So, Evans, the point is this. If you announce to the public that you intend to contest this seat, that's overt. If you begin to campaign for the primaries, What is more overt than campaigning in the primary?
In this case, it's picked up nomination
let's make a list of all of them. They have to resign now. This Clockside case is very clear. It says you can't stay in the civil service once your affiliation and your activities become overt. So meaning you can be a member of a political party, fine, that's not a problem. But as soon as you begin to do overt or undertake overt activities with that political party, then you are gone. You are gone. There's no, you can't be salvaged. It's very clear.
In this case, he's picked up nomination forms. You say that qualifies as overt?
Absolutely. And he's already campaigning. He's campaigning. He has a campaign team. It's overt. This is beyond redemption. This is beyond redemption. You just have to go. Because it says that when you read from pages 208 onwards, all the analysis the Supreme Court did, they are very clear that when a civil servant does that becomes overt, it affects the neutrality of the civil service. The neutrality and the decision-making processes and everything. They say it even breeds corruption and all those things. Yeah, it's a full, maybe we can even have a full discussion on this decision. Yeah, the court was very clear.
But do some also debate that the Controller Accountant General's department, does it qualify strictly as a position like that? Does it qualify as a civil service position?
Does it qualify? Sorry,
as a civil service position? Is it civil servant, strictly speaking? Some may create the distinction between that and the public service, and that it doesn't necessarily come under the civil service so defined.
Oh no, okay. So the court explained in a different decision. That's ADRA, ADRA versus Attorney General. What they said is that members of a ministry are part of the civil service. As far as I'm aware, the Controller and Accountant General's department is part of the Ministry of Finance. Correct? Controller and Accountant General is part of Ministry of Finance. He reports to the Minister of Finance. He's squarely within the civil service. The ones that are not, they've mentioned. So in the ADRA case, the Supreme Court said that one big organization, can you imagine, GES. So GES like this is not in the civil service. So if a teacher is teaching and wants to contest and all that, no, it's not disqualified. They've indicated those they want to disqualify. But Evans, what we cannot run away from is that the Controller and Accountant General is a department. It's under the Ministry of Finance. Yes. So it's court. And members of a ministry are civil servants. That is the decision of the Supreme Court in ADRA versus Attorney General. They were all held in the same year. Was that 2017? Yes. So what's the name of the controller again? Is it Mr. Busumchi?
Mr. Queening, yes, Mr. Queening Busumpim.
So Mr. Queening Busumchi, we expect him to resign first thing tomorrow morning. Yeah, first thing tomorrow morning. He shouldn't even enter. Of course, he has to enter his office to pack. But that's it. He's done. This decision is very clear. They say when you are overt, so all we have to do is, as a nation, do we all accept that somebody announcing and constituting a campaign team and beginning to campaign, if that doesn't amount to overt political affiliation, then I wonder if any other activity will qualify as overt political affiliation.
Well, when we last checked, this is a few hours ago, he was still in office, although he had picked up the forms. So if he doesn't resign by himself, what happens?
So it means that somebody must be heading to the courts quickly to get the necessary orders. He has to just go. This shouldn't, it's clear. I mean, let's not delude ourselves. The word overt is clear because Sofia made it clear that they don't want a civil servant going to the marketplace and announcing to the people that he is MPP or NDC. They don't want a civil servant broadcasting in the marketplace. So when you say you are going to contest and you've announced it on various media, hey, is that not bigger than a marketplace? Mr. Busumpim didn't calculate well. This one there, he just has to go. And it's not only him. So as I've mentioned earlier, all the other services mentioned in Article 94, Clause 3. You see the list. Police service, armed forces, all of them, statistical service, judicial service, all legal service, all of them is the same ratio, because they say, listen, they don't want these politicians in the civil service. Do we want politicians in the police service? Do we want politicians in the armed forces? Do we want politicians in the judicial service? No. So you can be a member of a political party, but quietly. Don't go flaunting it. I'm MPP, I'm NDC, all over the place. No. Quiet. Yes, it's your right to belong, as long as you are not doing anything overt, wearing party T-shirts at the workplace. All those are overt activities. But if you're just quiet, you're a member of the party, yes, but you haven't gone to the marketplace to broadcast, you haven't come to sit on TV to broadcast, that one, no, you can stay in office. But the moment you are broadcasting and doing things overt in the civil service, and by extension, all the other services mentioned in Article 94, Clause 3, you have to resign.
Well, thank you very much, Martin Kpebu there. Well, as you speak tonight, the Controller and Accountant General, Kwesi Busimpim, remains in office. We'll see if anything changes tomorrow. But talking about the politicization of the civil service tonight, the Civil and Local Government Staff Association, they have a complaint about that. But this time, it revolves around the Presidential Office Act 1993. And they say the president has been using it, the executive has been using that to appoint politicians into the civil service. And they have announced today that they have instructed their lawyers to head to the Apex Court to seek redress on the issue. Listen to Isaac Bampuado, who is Executive Secretary.
Glossa would keep reminding the authorities of the need to do away with politicization of the services. It has been observed that the Presidential Office Act 1993 Act 463 has been the legal instrument that has emboldened governments to pursue the politicization of the services. Even though the Presidential Office Act empowers the President to appoint into the services, it does not specify any qualification and competencies as well as experience required for entry into the services. Therefore, these political apparatchiks and go boys oftentimes enter the civil service and the local government service without the requisite qualifications and experience. Worst of all, they are made to superintend over career officers within the civil service and the local government service. From the ruling of the Supreme Court on neutrality in June 2017, it was made clear that no civil servant must owe or seem to owe appointment or promotion to partisan activities, since visible partisanship by civil servants would severely impair, if not destroy, the public perception of neutrality. Thus, the use of the Presidential Office Act in appointing officers into the civil service and local government service is contrary to the Supreme Court ruling on neutrality. In view of the foregoing, CLOSAC has instructed its lawyers to file a writ at the Supreme Court for redress.
Well, CLOSAC also attributed the current economic crisis to the neglect of staff of the civil and local government services.
It is worthy to note that the neglect of the civil service at the central and local levels of governance over the years has landed us in this economic mess that needed the IMF to come in to strengthen up things for us.
CLOSAC has already been making mention of guru boys and apparatchiks that have taken over the ministries. And as you are aware, civil servants are policy initiators on governance. Now, these apparatchiks have no experience in public finance, so that's not, we are not surprised. But almost all their policies have failed. I can give an example of E-level. It has failed because they don't understand how the system works. So we are saying, allow civil servants to do their work. This is not private fund, this is public finance. So you cannot just come from the private sector and until you know everything about the civil service. So these are the things that have brought us to this mess. It's a policy failure. All our revenue policies have failed. You can name them. Property rate, name them. All have failed.
You're still live. Your news night is on Joy 99.7 FM. Still ahead, President Akufo-Addo is tonight fighting up the tag of being a clearing agent who clears his appointees of corruption even before they go before the courts.
It is not my job to clear or convict any person accused of wrongdoing or of engaging in acts of wrongdoing, despite the effort of some to tag me as a clearing agent.
We have details as he declares his administration has exhibited utmost good faith in the fight against corruption. George, you are faced here with business. Hello, George.
Hi, Ivan.
I am counting down to Christmas, but even more so to the Joy Family Party in the park on the 26th of December.
At the Botanical Gardens.
At the Botanical Gardens.
You know, you go.
I'm looking forward to seeing you and your fiancé.
And my family
and
as
your
well.
fiancé.
Yes, of course, because you know there's some events that you go.
Oh, you bring your fiancé along.
There's some event that you go that
you bring
there's
your fiancé
nothing.
along.
There is nothing for the family. Now you have the beer village. Everything is actually there for the family.
Oh, you
the
the
kids
beer
and everything.
village.
So
Oh,
listen,
yes,
you
yes.
don't have to miss out the live band and also the artist performance as well. So you have to be there on Tuesday at the Botanical Gardens.
Special attraction, side attraction. George's fiancé. I can't wait. I'm licking my lips right now. What do you have?
All right, Evans, coming up in business, bank treasurers expect recent pressure on cedi to ease in the coming days as forex demand slows. And we'll be hearing from the World Bank country director whether the economy has really turned the corner. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery Centers Tanks and Pepsodent Herbal and Charcoal.
Imagine strutting into the most anticipated wedding of the year. Only to see 7 other girls wearing your exact same outfit.
You are special and one of a kind, and that's why whether it's voice, data or SMS, you get to enjoy personalized offers tailored to your specific needs with MTN Just For You. Dial *141# or select your options on the My MTN app to redeem your unique Just For You package on Ghana's best mobile network. MTN.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kindle Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHS, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302 764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
No matter your water needs, Syntex has it all. Syntex tank was first to introduce double layer tank, and now you can have as many layers as you want. Syntex tank was first to introduce white inner layer tanks in Ghana, and now introduces the customer specs order, which will let you order any color and size you want. Syntex tanks gives you the biggest warranty of 7 years, which no other tank gives you. So whatever your water consumption, size of project or demand, choose Syntex tank. Syntex tank, stress-free. Syntex tank, reliable. Syntex tank, maximum guarantee. Call 0244 335 168, Kumasi 0505 555 666, or visit syntexgh.com. Syntex tank, a strong, a tough.
The world awaits this. The journey begins in Accra. Prepare to witness a global spectacle. Africa's biggest theatrical venture, The Second Coming of Nkrumah by Lateef Abubakar.
Our independence is meaningless unless it links up the total liberation of the African continent.
Experience the fusion of captivating drama, vibrant dances capturing the spirit of Africa.
Freedom!
Live at the Accra International Conference Center, 28th, 29th, and 30th of December 2023. 2 shows each day, 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. Dial *711 *10# to purchase or visit theafricanfestival.com. Tickets are also available at Kuala, Airport Shell, Joy FM, and Bachona Total. Call 0571 900 900 for details. The second coming of Nkrumah, Africa's biggest theatrical venture, is brought to you by MNC Group Global in partnership with Joy Entertainment and Graphic News Plus app, powered by the African Festival.
Media Sambisanda Moa. Etiamratiano, Mumu Panet, Mufinam, Podompe, Mumana Yakono. Eh, Quabna. No Mumu wants me to be just my Mariana there. And the crew, complete Miriam Podompe, so you super excellent Eba. I had a binding the Braille, who sit in a mobile, some mana warning. Sir, I na could you soon use super excellent Chaco, Nenry dear, a mouse, when you could fit that. No, what you ask you, my mother feel you. Kojo, sir. Yeah. Pepsodent Heba and a Pepsodent Chaco. I've idea. You're gonna natural.
FDIJ Jadian Katuatu.
The luckiest. Luck is everywhere. For everyone. Yeah. The luckiest.
Keep buying your luckiest ticket with *712# as an individual, a group, an association, or even a community, and stand a chance of winning in the community draw or the ultimate draw on 23rd of December. Be the luckiest on *712# and win millions. Ticket sale starts on October 4th, 2023, and draw date is on 23rd December 2023. Play responsibly, not for persons under 18 years. This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform. Win millions on *712#.
The luckiest. You could be the luckiest.
D's Dream World Ghana presents Efia Live. Saturday, 23rd December 2023 at the Accra International Conference Center. This electric concert brings you an unforgettable night featuring a star-studded lineup of Ghanaian artists and thrilling performances. Tickets 200 Ghana Cedis ordinary, 350 Ghana Cedis VIP, and 500 Ghana Cedis VVIP. Dial *714*600# to buy your tickets. Partners Live Connect, Jeanette Services, and Gingam Entertainment. Media partners Joy FM, Joy Prime. For more information, please call 0557-710-000 or 0508-856-200 or 0244-745-302 or visit www.fialive.com.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, World Bank Country Director Pierre Laporte says he believes Ghana's economy has gotten to that stage where it can't be said to have turned the corner. Now, there has been raging debate about whether things have really improved for the economy. But speaking on PM Express Business Edition, which airs tonight at 9 p.m. on Joy News, Mr. Laporte noted that the indicators showed that things have improved.
For me, one, economic indicators that recently came out are showing clearly that Ghana has now got hold of
signs of recovery.
Signs of recovery are there, yeah.
Or it has turned the corner.
It has turned the corner, and the foundations are there because low inflation is one of the most killing things. It's taxing, and if you manage to bring down inflation, it shows again, the monetary policy, we discussed that before. Yes, interest rates are so high, but it was needed to stop inflation. Now, this is what we've seen, but I believe, I think they tell me I'm too optimistic, but again, I believe not because of optimism, but because the measures, the actions, the reforms that are now being taken, they will put Ghana on the road to a more viable economic
so we are on that path to stability, and we haven't turned the corner yet, some would say.
Well, but if your inflation was 40%, now it's 30, I think you've turned the corner.
And that's the World Bank Country Director Pierre Laporte. And there's more on PM Express Business Edition at 9 p.m. on Joy News and all our social media platforms tonight at 9 p.m. Some bank treasurers say they expect the recent pressure on the Ghana cedi to ease in the coming days. Now, this is due to the fact that demand for forex is currently easing. There is more in this report.
Some of these bank treasurers have told Joy Business the pressure on the Ghana cedi from the previous month were influenced by the demand for forex by businesses to finance import. Therefore, they're expecting the situation to improve significantly when it comes to the local currency's fortunes going forward. The Bank of Ghana this week also increased its support for the market in terms of dollar support. Meanwhile, some have also maintained that the cocoa syndication loan before the end of this year may also contribute to the Ghana cedi stability. Joy Business understands that $600 million will come in as the first round. The remaining $200 million will hit the Bank of Ghana's account next month.
That is a business text report. Meanwhile, 12 Ghana cedis, 10 pesos. That's the average quotes that the commercial banks were offering to their clients today when it comes to transactional rates. If you have gone to a forex bureau today, they'll be selling $1 to you at 12 Ghana cedis, 35 pesos. Agric workers have described the performance of the sector over the last 3 months as expected. Latest GDP estimates released by the Ghana Statistical Service showed that the agric sector grew by 5.9%. Now, this is the highest growth compared to other sectors of the economy. Now, General Secretary of the General Agricultural Workers Union, Edward Karawe, says government may have to do more to sustain this trend.
We expected it to grow better than this, and it was indicated, it depends on the level of investment we have put in it. It is our best sector that the least effort we put in agriculture will get better returns than any other sector. Well, it requires more investment, making sure that budgetary allocation to the sector is actually get to the stakeholders or the target group, and then also to ensure that any other factor that destroys agricultural infrastructure is abated. For instance, if you take Galamsey like this, it's one area that is also destroying agricultural infrastructure. So if you even invest more in agriculture by way of resources and so on, yet you are unable to address the effect of Galamsey, then of course it will reduce the impact of the investment that is put in. And again,
General Secretary of the General Agricultural Workers Union, Edward Karawe. Now, the Office of the Registrar of Companies say it will not hesitate to sanction businesses that fail to register their outfit. Now, the move has become necessary as more firms are failing to comply with these laws. Now, Matodor say is the Deputy Chief Company Inspector at the Office of the Registrar of Companies, and he has been speaking to Joy Business after a sensitization drive in Tema.
If you don't renew, per the law, the sanctions will apply, and it's going to be per day. Every officer will be responsible, will be liable. So we want our numerous clientele to know that you have to register the business. It is mandatory to be recognized, to gain recognition and identity for your own enterprise. And then once you are registered, you need to annually renew the business. You need to renew the business. You need to file your return annually. So if it's sole proprietorship, you renew. If it is partnership, you renew.
And that is the Deputy Chief Company Inspector at the Office of the Registrar of Companies, Matoda Osei. Let's turn our attention to the stock market. And if you are a shareholder of Republic Bank, you lost 2 pesos, and the share that you are holding right now is worth 48 pesos. To the other stocks on the market as well, and Fat Milk was up by 21 pesos and is now worth 3 Ghana cedis, 25 pesos. And that is how developments are shaping up on the Ghana Stock Exchange in terms of how your shares fared today at the close of trading on the Ghana Stock Exchange. And events tonight on PM Express, the World Bank Country Director Pierre Laporte.
That interview,
interesting thoughts, Evans, that you don't want to miss. You know, his bits about the economy, the bits about whether it's doing well or not, his thoughts about the IMF program, his thoughts about the energy sector, you know, and whether things are actually improving, the bit about government should stop sole sourcing and make sure that every contract is now open for competitive bidding. So, Evans, you don't want to miss it at 9 p.m. on Joy News and all our social media platforms as you get the thoughts of the World Bank Country Director, Pierre Laporte, on Ghana's economy.
And let's get context to this. This is his parting interview.
Yes, of course. He'll be moving next week. He's out of town.
Yeah, I mean, tell us more. I mean, and how you got him to sit down. This is not your first interview with him.
No,
I remember that even the first.
The
one
last
was
interview generated a lot of controversies. That they decided that he's not going to grant any media interview again. So it's been hard pushing to get him to sit down to have a chat with us.
I recall that interview is the one in which he
take or pay.
Yes, but also made the argument that way before COVID, signs of economic crisis were there.
Yeah.
And that a lot of people use that when government said, well, listen, COVID was a reason to say, but even the World Bank boss was clear
but
that even before
I
COVID,
tried to push him on this, and Evans, his argument now that he thinks that the economy has turned the corner. He also thinks that yes, COVID and the Russian-Ukraine played a part, but things might have not been that worse today if it had been that too. The argument also about the fact that it is only Ghana that is feeling the pinch. He claims that he actually oversees other countries in West Africa, and they are struggling right now to recover compared to where Ghana is. So they are quite interesting arguments that you went to hear his thoughts on the Ghanaian economy tonight at 9 p.m.
And it's also going to be across many social media platforms. The parting interview of the World Bank Country Director,
Pierre Laporte.
You're still live here on News 90 on Joy 99.7 FM. I want to bring in now Mr. Kranti, who has the very latest from the world of sports.
Evans, let's go straight into the stories. And Brighton boss Roberto De Zerbi has hit out at Black Stars head coach Chris Hughton after injured Tariq Lamptey was named in Ghana's provisional AFCON squad. Lamptey has been out of action since November and is still yet to recover. However, the 23-year-old appeared in Ghana's provisional list published by CAF yesterday, much to the surprise of De Zerbi, who wasn't having it.
Maybe the coach of Ghana doesn't watch the Premier League because I don't know how much time we are playing without Tariq Lamptey, and if he wants to play with Lamptey, I'm happy for Tariq, but I don't know because he's not available to play with Brighton. How can he play with Ghana?
You heard Brighton boss Roberto De Zerbi is speaking there, bringing an end to sports. Back to you, Evans.
And you live here on News 90 on Joy 99.7 FM, and shortly we'll be telling you how to get your tickets to the family party in the park. You don't want to miss that. It's on the 26th day. To bring you details of that. Well, tonight, President Akufo-Addo is fighting off the tag of being a clearing agent who has been shielding his appointees of corruption before the courts and other institutions of state to do so. Speaking at the launch of the national evaluation of the Anti-Corruption Action Plan here in Accra, the President indicated his administration detests corruption.
It is important for the rule of law that the public institutions responsible for the detection, prosecution, and the punishment of corruption, i.e. of crime, be accorded respect until their own conduct is impeached. If that respect is not prima facie accorded, the foundations of orderly government can be easily subverted to the loss and pain of each one of us. That is why so far, every single alleged act of corruption leveled against any of my appointees has been investigated by independent bodies such as SRAG, the Criminal Investigation Department of the Police, and in some cases by Parliament itself. It is not my job to clear or convict any person accused of wrongdoing or of engaging in acts of wrongdoing, despite the effort of some to tag me as a clearing agent. That is the job of the courts and the law enforcement agencies. My job is to act on allegations of corruption by referring the issue or issues to the proper investigative agencies for the relevant inquiry and action, including, if necessary, the suspension of the affected official pending the conclusion of investigations. That is exactly what is being done since I assumed the mantle of leadership on 7th January 2017.
He had a list of corruption-related incidents that have rocked his administration and how he handled it.
From the allegations against the then Minister-designate for Energy, Boachi Ejako, at his parliamentary confirmation hearings in 2017. To that against the former CEO of BOSS, the Honorable Alfred Obeng, to those against the then two deputy chiefs of staff and the office of the president, the Honorable Francis Asensu-Boakye and Honorable Samuel Abu Jinapo, to the conflict of interest allegations against the Minister for Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, to the claims of extortion against the then Trade and Minister Industry designate, Alan Shamateng, at his parliamentary confirmation hearings in 2017, to allegations of doubling in visa racketeering against the then Deputy Minister for Youth and Sports, Pius Hajije, and the then Director General of the National Sports Authority, Honorable Robert Safo-Mensah, who, even though exonerated by the CID, later resigned, and the chairperson of the board of the National Sports Authority, the Honorable Kwadwo Ba-Ajima.
A tall list indeed. Well, I want to bring in right now Mary Ada, who is the acting executive director of the Ghana Integrity Initiative, joins us on the line right now. Hello, Mary. Thanks for your time here on Newsnight.
Thank you very much, Ivan. Good evening to your listeners. I am the executive director of the Ghana Integrity.
The executive director, indeed. Thank you very much. And Mary, this document is one that I know all of you fought strongly for, and I'm talking about the National Anti-Corruption Plan. Today, of course, the president was doing an evaluation of it. First, tell me, for where you stand, if you do an evaluation of this document, how has it fared over the period?
So thank you, Ivan, very much for the question. So what essentially is happening now with the NACAP is the fact that there's going to be an evaluation which the UN, ODC, and the Statistical Service and other partners are going to do. From the preliminary data that has been captured from the point of view of shrines, they indicated a little over about 37% of all the activities which were put in the plan have been fully implemented. So you can talk about fully implemented 37%, and then some 88 or so of them are currently ongoing, with 3 activities which have not been implemented at all. So you would realize that even though some action has taken place when it comes to the implementation of the NACAP, we still have a long way to go, because we are in the 9th year, approaching the 10th year of the implementation. The good thing, however, is the fact that government appreciates, and the president himself has indicated, he told us all today that the fight against corruption has been a nebulous event, and it's continued to plague society. So it means they appreciate that not much has been done, and a lot more needs to continue to be done.
And during this period, though, the president has also been assessing his own performance when it comes to corruption, using today's event. Do you agree with him? He believes that he's done what he should do to deal with corruption, listing a number of cases and telling us what he's done about them. In the spirit of assessing performances, what's your verdict on his performance?
We would then say that whatever the president thinks he has done, which merits him scoring himself very high and placing himself on such a pedestal that no one has done what he has done before. It is interesting that the president in the same forum chronicled some of the efforts we have put in place in the past to fight corruption. He mentioned some which were even against human rights, which were jailing people, draconian sentences, people were fired, firing squads, just because they had stolen some few monies or believed to have stolen some few persons that were belonging to the state. And so for the president to say that he has done so much more depends on where he's coming from. He mentioned some people. Exactly, but there are a lot more from the other side where we see things, we experience them, and then we talk about them. And it would even be more if the president listens to civil society, listens to the voices of contrary opinions, particularly when we shape these by evidence with the data we are picking. If the president says he is excelling, why is it that the corruption perception index continues to stagnate? Why is it that the Afrobarometer surveys have indicated that people have lost trust in the fight against corruption from a 70-something% in 2017 to about 35% now? So the president should begin to ask himself some of those questions and then not be too peeved with the fact that people say he is a clearing agent. I believe some reflection would help in that regard.
Thank you very much, Mary Ada, Executive Director of the Ghana Integrity Initiative. To Thector, as they now enhance technologies, an agri-tech company, emerged as the winner of the maiden edition of the National Innovation Challenge organized by the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program. The winning innovation from Haas Technologies is a mobile cocoa pot breaking machine, setting it apart from any other currently available on the market, with its capacity to handle multiple cocoa pots simultaneously, allowing it to break 7,200 pots per hour. Now, this technology has earned the agri-tech startup a prize of 100,000 cedis.
Cocoa powder, just to mention a few of the delicacies from cocoa. But even before they can be processed into these, the pods must first be harvested, painstakingly cracked open, and the beans extracted from it. That process is the most difficult part of the cocoa processing chain. Farmers usually have to break these pods with either a cutlass or a wooden club, which requires much effort and time. But there is a solution.
It's an automatic mobile cocoa pod breaking machine, thereby increasing productivity by over 700%.
Ni Adefiu, the founder of Hask Technologies and winner of the National Innovation Challenge, has developed a mobile cocoa pod breaking machine with a capacity to break 7,200 cocoa pods in an hour.
With our new design, our machine has the capacity to break about 7,000 pods per hour. It's also designed to fit into the buckets of Naboboria, therefore can easily maneuver through different farm terrains. Uses diesel and it's very easy to operate, build and maintain.
Knollwood fabrication came second, with plastic lintel and fascia boards made from recycled material.
Ecolen is a plastic formwork sheet board made from recycled waste plastic to replace this one-time use wooden board in the building process.
Code Club came third with their smart visual impaired kit, which helps the visually impaired navigate their environment freely without any assistance.
So what the smart spectacles and smart stick does is it detects obstacles and give feedback to the visually impaired person of an obstacle in the way of the visually impaired person.
The organizers of the competition are optimistic that these innovations will contribute significantly to the economic development of the nation. Esther Nkrumah's report, read to you.
Christmas and one year, enjoy these wherever you are. If you can sing along, sing with us. That I play on drums.
Indeed, what you hear in the background is sounds from Kwampa, and it will be at this year's Joy FM family party in the park, and it will be an unforgettable Christmas treat indeed. You don't want to miss it. The assurance from programs manager here at Joy FM, Adam Naite, is that you really want to be part of this experience, which is next week, Tuesday on the 26th.
The artists are ready. Ifia. Now. We have Kwampa.
On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a partridge in a pear tree.
And loads of other surprise acts. They are all ready. You know, the children love their musical chairs, they love their sack race, and all of those, we have them ready. This year we are also saying that when the families come in early in the morning between 9 and 10 a.m, we're going to take them round the Ebri Botanical Gardens for a tour.
And you want to join the party train at the Bree Botanical Gardens on December 26th, 2023 from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. for a fun-packed family time this Christmas. The rate is a cool 200 cedis for a family of 6. Family party in the park is on Tuesday, the 26th of December, and just next week. You don't want to miss it for anything. Up next is Personality Profile with Lexis Bill. Norrender Debrah is on the show, and that's the Managing Director of NSIA Insurance Company. Enjoy the rest of your